All right. Hello again, adventurers, and welcome to another exciting episode of The Legend of the Three Kingdoms. Yes, this is one of my homebrew D&D campaign set, my weird, messed up homebrew D&D campaign setting, and the people below me are the people that are finally getting a chance to play D&D with me after like a month. Because my life has been weird. Announcements. Probably the biggest one that we were talking about just before we went live. Geek and Sundry is back? Question mark! Exclamation point. They just announced yesterday that there's going to be a new video and podcast, I'm assuming live play series, called Sagas of Sundry Goblin something.
We don't even know that.
Yeah, they have a trailer for it. They say it's coming in September, so we've got probably around a month before we find out exactly what's going on. But it says Geek and Sundry and Realm are partnering to do this thing. Realm is a podcast company that seems to have some pretty high quality stuff. So yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic. Geek and Sundry was murdered by greed and corporate nonsense, and it's left a bad taste in my mouth for many years. And so I would love to see it resurrected and turned into something actually good. Yeah, so that's going on. On a slightly unrelated note, a friend of the channel and friend of some of the people on screen right now has officially announced on her Instagram that she has sold the first book in a new series. So
Hemlock!
we're super excited for what she's calling the Hemlock series. There is no official announcements right now as to when it's going to be published or pre-orders or anything like that. None of that currently exists, but Kiri Callaghan, for anyone that doesn't know, Kiri Callaghan's wonderful, amazing author, does so many amazing, wonderful things. That's her. That's one of her books right there. She's super amazing. That's Changeling is amazing. Alice the Terramirium Chronicles is amazing. And this new book is something like The Witches. Do you know the name of the book? I don't have it open right now.
I think it's called Hemlock.
No, there's an extra here. I'm just gonna Kiri Callaghan. I'm gonna go to her Instagram because that's where she announced it. There we go. So, Kiri Callaghan's The Hearth Witch's Guide to Magic and Murder. The first in a fantastical series of the slow burn sapphic romance set in an alternate London in which a rogue changeling and a heartbroken witch team up in an unlikely partnership to solve a string of murders that threaten to expose the hidden world of Fae. So yeah, that was the announcement that she made. We're all unbelievably excited because, first of all, Kiri is a wonderful person that deserves the absolute world, and second of all, she is such an amazing author. She really is. I've read Alice. I got partway through to Changeling, and then my brain decided I'm not allowed to read things again. So I'm working my way through Changeling, but they are brilliant. She's a phenomenal author. So yeah, we're really proud of Kiri. Yeah. And we're real excited to see when it comes out. And according to that particular thing, for publication in the fall of 2025. So it's going to be a little bit of time before it comes out. But trust me, as soon as pre-orders are available, we will start screaming about it and telling everyone and their mothers and fathers and goats to pre-order the book. So yeah, cool stuff. I think I have to look up what this is called again because there we go. Ironheart. I got to see if they're done yet. They have a day left. So there is currently a backer kit for I will just read what they call it. It's called Ironheart, a lo-fi solo mech TTRPG. Basically, this is a TTRPG that's meant to be played by yourself. And what you do is you create a pilot and a mech, and then you go have adventures so that you guys can become friends. So you can become friends with your giant robot. And it's the most wholesome thing I've ever seen. I backed it myself. I am super excited for it. They have 24 hours left in their backer kit, and it looks really, really cool. They've hit a bunch of stretch goals that look awesome. I will leave a link to it. By the way, I'm not affiliated with them in any way, shape, or form. They do not know me. This is not sponsored. This is just something I'm super excited about because I think, first of all, I'm a sucker for mechs in general, and then second of all, the idea of a solo tabletop RPG intrigues me, and a solo tabletop RPG where the point is to go out, explore space, and become friends with a giant robot. How do you get better than that? Like, it just sounds lovely. So, check that
When
out.
that comes out, watch Jody make the Green Ranger.
I will. I've been playing Warframe, and I kid you not, every single Warframe, I find out how to make them look like a Green Ranger, to the point where I was visiting a group area in Warframe, and chat just started screaming, "It's the Green Ranger!" So that's what I do, guys. So yeah, that's it. Other stuff in the tabletop RPG world. Gen Con was a couple weeks ago now. First copies of the new Player's Handbook are in people's hands. They were able to buy physical copies at Gen Con. So reviews are starting to come out for it. September 6th, I believe, is the earliest you can get access to it if you weren't at Gen Con. So that's only a few weeks away. Everything I've seen thus far, people are kind of mixed about it. There's some things that they like. There's some things that they don't like.
I'm 50-50 still currently, but I haven't read the book. I've been holding
Yeah.
off like you for a lot of the stuff.
Which is kind of what you expect. Like, the same thing happened when 5th edition launched. It was 50-50. The same thing happened when 3rd edition launched, and then 3.5, and then 4th edition. This is always how it works. There'll be some people that like it and some people that don't. I'm excited to see what it's going to turn into.
Worst case scenario, you adapt what you like, and you use what you like, and you use what you don't like.
Well, and that was like one of the critiques I
Don't use
saw. I think it was Dodger Thorne actually made this critique where they're going, "Hey, what do you guys think about on her podcast with Jesse Cox?" The guest that they had was, I can't remember his name now. Anyway, he goes, "What do you guys think of the new D&D stuff?" And they go, "Well, everything I've seen thus far is nobody. I've not met a single person that decided to just use everything that they've seen."
Yeah.
Every single person that I've seen goes, "Well, we're going to take this stuff that we like,
Yeah.
and we're going to ignore this stuff," which I'm kind of expecting is probably going to happen for the first probably like year or two that 5.5 is out.
And also, they've already opened their thing up to third-party content for 5th edition type stuff. So, worst case scenario, you can keep playing what you like.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing's really going away. If this was previous edition stuff, I'd be like, well, this is unfortunate. We're not going to see any more XYZ. I think we're still going to see plenty of 5th edition third-party content.
They've opened up D&D Beyond to a lot of third-party people. Like Colville's on there. Who is the other people? The people that they claimed that they were never going to work with 5th edition again during the OGL debacle, then immediately...
Kobold,
there we go. Kobold Press is on there. There's...
I think Chaosium is too, isn't right?
Yeah. Everybody that said that Wizards of the Coast was evil and they're never going to trust them again is riding the bandwagon right now because it makes money. Like, all the YouTubers that said that they would never trust Wizards of the Coast again, all of them are gung-ho for it. They never actually cared about the OGL debacle, which was entirely based on lies anyways. It was just because it was popular. So, me on the other hand, I've mentioned this here before. Whenever this campaign ends, I'm not going to be running D&D again for a little bit. I like playing around in different systems. They're fun. And whomever runs the next either mini campaign or full campaign on this channel is welcome to run D&D if they want, or welcome to run something that's not D&D. Because we are so blessed with so many different systems right now.
I will simply point out I recently uncovered a Cowboy Bebop RPG.
Ooh, me likey that. God, Cowboy Bebop. Cowboy Bebop's another thing that I was just super, super excited about the live action because they had so many good people involved in it. And then
Yeah.
it was just so. It wasn't that it was repulsive, it was just so bland and so boring and.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah, it's one of those things like,
Well, it was also like they barely got started though. It's like, hey, sometimes the first season is really slow build up, and quite frankly, Netflix blinked and they went no, and they were playing chicken with no one, and they freaked out and they pulled over.
to be fair, there were a lot of decisions that were not just okay, this is someone learning. Like there were a lot of just really bad decisions. Like the fight choreography was horrendous, and I understand the decision that they made and why they made the decision. It was just the wrong decision.
Yeah.
And there were other things that they did that just showed that they didn't understand the source material. So yeah, did they cancel it way too early? 100%. They canceled it after what, like a day or two?
Yeah, but like they weren't.
It
even
was
a full.
really,
It wasn't even
really
a,
fast.
it wasn't even a full. They didn't even get halfway in the season. They announced it.
Well, they put the entire thing up at once, but
Was it? Yeah, that was one of the ones. Yeah,
they yeah,
but
it was
day
just
one or day two.
it was so fast. Like the reviews came out from big reviewers, and they were not great. Like lukewarm were the good reviews. And then they immediately went no, 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 and threw everything away, which sucks because what is it? John Cho, is that who played the lead? Yeah,
Sounds right.
John Cho. I think he had a good interpretation of the character that was just flawed by bad direction. Like so much of the show was not that the actors were doing something wrong. The directors just did not know what they were doing and were giving the actors bad direction. And the writers were not doing a great job either, but that can be salvaged. But bad direction is bad direction. Anyway, so cool stuff happening there. I think I've already mentioned it here once before, but I'll keep mentioning it. I'm already starting to plan my daily December Kika campaign that I'm going to be running this December. It's going to be Metroid. It's going to be a Metroid campaign. I have not settled on the system that we're using because every time I finally go, okay, I'm not using this system, I look into the system a little more and go, wait a minute. Like I was sold on the idea that Traveler, not using Traveler. Traveler, there's too many tables on it, and it's just no way. And then I started looking at the Traveler system again, and I'm like, but there's a lot of, and I could totally see it working this way. And I'm like, no, we're not doing Stars Without, but there's some cool stuff there. But modern age, just really but there's some damn cool stuff. So, still haven't decided on the system. But if you're interested in the Metroid series, going to be running a Metroid campaign in December. So, that should be cool.
I was not giving any love to GURPS. All right.
It's because GURPS deserves no love. GURPS deserves to rot in the little corner of hell that they created.
You could have a glitter boy in Metroid. Just saying.
I have I own a few GURPS books, and I have opened them a few times, and every single time I've gotten a headache. And again, this is coming from the person that used to do differential calculus in their head well enough that in my AP calculus course, the teacher came over to me one day and goes, Jody, I need you to solve this equation. I go, okay. And I take my pencil. He's like, no. You have to solve it in your head. Okay. And so he describes an equation to me. I go, X is blah, 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 blah. He goes, okay, you don't have to show your work on tests anymore. He's like, you know what you're doing. It's obvious. I'm like, thank you so much. I hate showing the work made all the problems just take like an extra 5 minutes. And I was like, I know how to do this. Can I just do it? So yeah, I used to do differential calculus for fun, and GURPS gives me headaches. So there. Yeah. On a related note, if you know any good science fiction tabletop RPGs, tweet them at me, make a comment on one of my videos. I am looking at quite a few different ones now, and each one just has cool shit in it. And eventually I'm just going to call up Elias and go, Elias, pick a system! So, yeah. Oh, another thing I should mention, Zeldathon 1986 is going on right now. It is a charity event run by the Zeldathon people. Zelda Universe is partnering with them to live stream it on the Zelda Universe YouTube channel. But they're raising money for St. Jude. They're doing lots of cool stuff. So check it out. I will probably raid them after the game tonight. Always great to support Zelda streamers raising money for charity. So any other announcements you guys are aware of? Or cool things that you want to talk about? Cool. Well, in that case...
Matt Koval, let Dale Kisby name system.
It has a name.
Did Dale Kisby name it?
No, he didn't. I can't remember what the name is. I got a... or no, they tweeted the name, and I can't remember what it was. But unfortunately, Dale Kingsmill can no longer name it because they have a name.
Well, like most things on the internet, I now want to burn it down.
Yeah, we'll... we should go into Ghostfire Games when they're having the podcast and just like make a riot of like, Dale, they robbed you. I can't believe this, Dale. It was supposed to be you.
They will kick us out. They don't know me over there.
They barely know me. So yeah, cool stuff going on there. I'm hoping the updates around Colville's new tabletop RPG sounds like they're getting to the point where playtest packets and stuff are going to start going out to backers. So that will be exciting. Yeah. Otherwise, I think it is time for us to return to the legend of the Three Kingdoms. The party has finally made it through the Webwood. After exploring Middenwell, discovering the remnants of a previous city beneath it, and dealing with the strange awakening of the population there, the party decided to continue their trek, attempting to destroy the generals of the Dark Lord in an attempt to weaken his power. But in order to get to where the next general resides, they had to go through the Webwood, which again seemed to play tricks with their mind. But after 8 grueling hours in the Webwood, they were able to leave and now can see Klausgate on the horizon. So, it's been a little bit of time since we played last.
I thought I was on the watch for the storms that I mentioned in our Discord. I was like, oh shit. I was like, oh god damn it.
Nope, that's my ambiance. So,
That's really loud to get through my headphones.
yeah, I haven't used this one before, and so I hadn't changed the levels on it yet. Review time. When we last left you guys basically did the 4 little caveats in the webwood
Yeah.
and came out without anyone dying, which I think is a plus. Oh, and we also learned how to cast Speak with Fungus, which I'm still very pleased about. So that was cool.
Just another attempt, just another opportunity for Jody to impersonate Restarty.
That's how it goes. So yeah, you guys were able to get.
gonna have to eat you.
You guys were able to get a long rest just outside of the Webwood, and then getting to Klaus Gate is another probably roughly like 8-hour journey ish from camping just outside the Webwood. So the question that you guys get to decide upon is, do you want to enter Klaus Gate at night, or do you want to camp one more time in the wilderness and come in early morning? I will say, Relwyn, the last time you came through Klaus Gate, you technically didn't even go into Klaus Gate in and of
I was
itself.
gonna say, because my understanding was a ghost town type situation.
Yeah, there was
so.
effectively no one there, and you basically traveled around the outside of the town until you came to the kind of Teamsters camp at the north end of the town, and that's where you were told, yeah, if you want to go to Midwell, you can join this character.
That was my other question. Why? So why does anyone? Do they basically they don't really go to Klaus Gate? They go around Klaus Gate to go to as part of caravans.
For the most part, people don't really travel between the various cities in Crucitalia. The thing that travels between Klaus Gate and Middenwell is goods more than people. Every so often there will be people that do it, but for the most part, anyone going to another city is generally going there as part of trade or something like that.
But there were people.
Yep.
So at one point, there were people at Klaus Gate. Okay.
Yeah, there were people when you were there. Anytime you kind of asked about, where is everybody, the response was always, "What are you talking about?" You're like, "But I don't see anyone in the city." Yeah, that's normal. They're inside. And anytime you would try to press further, you'd be shut down very, very quickly. Not so much going, "Don't ask questions," but they would change the subject. Something would happen. It was like, "Hey, we need you over here to do this, to fill out this form, whatever." So, with how much that was going on in your life at that time, there just really wasn't enough time for you to, if you wanted to investigate, to really investigate. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, the question returns. Do you guys want to enter at night? Or do you want to make one more camp? Rowan, you would be aware, this particular area tends to be relatively safe. Like, a lot of people camp outside of like the area outside of Klaus Gate is very, very safe because all of the dangerous stuff stays in the webwood. Like, the webwood actually kind of works as a barrier against some of the more dangerous creatures in Crucitalia getting anywhere near Klaus Gate. And then the Forgotten Mountains work kind of the same way, where they just kind of block off the bad stuff from getting to Klaus Gate, and then to the south is the fog wall. So really the only kind of dangerous area is between Ebenthorn and Klaus Gate. So again, I ask, what do you guys want to do?
Well, Roland will ask what they want to do, since he doesn't know if these guys have ever been in Klaus Gate, because he said he's never been.
I've not been in Clouds Gate. I feel like entering in at night could be troublesome. A sign of, especially if nobody's usually out and about. Of course, that would be interesting to see what's going on.
See if they're acting any differently like they were in Minimal.
Yeah. We could,
Yeah.
I could polymorph 2 of us and we could go. I think I could polymorph 2 of us. I may not. Can I polymorph people?
I
Done it
mean,
before.
yeah, the spell works that way.
I was
Right.
like, I like being a T-Rex.
But I can't like cast it at a higher level and cast it on multiple targets.
I don't think it has that ability. I think casting it at
I
a
don't
higher
think
level
so.
just gives you more things that you can turn them into. Too.
Well, it depends if it can be upcast at all.
Let me look real quick.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything about multiple targets, so I could cast it on myself or on someone else, and then we could, or they could, explore the city, see if they see anything.
Yeah, there's actually there's a 9th level spell called Mass Polymorph that you would use to do other stuff. But yeah, it doesn't look like there's any benefit to casting it at a higher level.
Yeah, it doesn't mention any upcasting.
I could literally turn myself into a Fala Raven.
You could, with a little lighter.
The problem is, any creature we turn into, we have those are the stats that we utilize.
I'm just thinking to go in and scope things out a little bit, not start any trouble, not light anything on fire. Just, is the town quiet, or are people congregating in the middle of the night and up to no good?
Well, if we approach right now anyway, it would be the nighttime, correct? So, I mean, would it really hurt anything just to approach it during the day?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
And
Yeah.
why?
I agree.
So, I think we want to hang out outside town overnight and then
Okay.
go in the morning. Is that what everybody else is feeling?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So probably about like a mile-ish outside of the town, there's an area where it's obvious other people have camped. You don't see any indication that anyone has been here recently, but there's various kind of little fire pits dug out and kind of surrounded with stones and stuff like that that show that this is a place where people regularly camp. And you guys have no problem kind of setting up camp. The air itself is very quiet. Like when you sit down to you guys notice that the kind of light pollution from the city is next to none. Like you guys can see the city on the horizon. You don't see any lights in windows or anything like that. There are no street lamps or anything, which is a little bit odd. Most towns, bare minimum, will have like lampposts with torches on them that are lit every night by either the constabulary or they actually have people whose job is to go around lighting the torches and then putting them out in the morning. But there's nothing. None of the houses, as you can see, have any lights on inside of them. And so, looking up, you can see the stars really, or you can see the overcast sky, seen as the Crucitalia in and of itself is permanently overcast. And everything seems kind of very dark and enveloping, for lack of a better term.
Oh, if we're looking at the map, does it still look weird over here?
Demise Tower is a little bit beyond your view from where you are right now. It is.
I was wondering because if you recall, I turned on God's lightsaber.
Yeah, as far as you can tell, you don't see any light coming from the Demise Tower.
Well, I don't think the light was there anymore. I was like, but I remember what I did in the sky above.
It's far enough away from where you are, especially with the Forgotten Mountains not technically being in line of sight, but they have storm systems and stuff that would obscure your ability to see above Demise Tower from where you are, because you're looking at hundreds of miles away.
Wait.
At Demise Towers.
Is Crucitalia flat, or is there curve?
God damn it! Don't start that.
There are parts of Crucitalia that are flatter than others. But yeah, is there anything you guys want to do before you go to bed?
Okay, hear me out. I could turn into a giant raven, and then somebody can ride on my back, and we could just do a fly around on the city.
Full on like David the Gnome.
At night. I feel this is like when you were wanting to see about flying over the mountains.
Look around you. There are many things you see.
Yes, but if you fall for whatever reason, I don't have no one's gonna land safely.
I have Dimension Door. I have Fly.
And if anything happens to you, we're both screwed. Oh, did you freeze?
Vala is thinking very, very hard, and maybe for some time.
Can you guys hear me or no?
Now you can.
No,
Now we
you're
can
back.
hear you. You froze for a
Okay.
bit.
You guys froze for me. My internet connection is unstable.
Okay.
Huzzah!
Yeah. For a second, you were
Ooh.
having internet stroke, and you were like,
It was a very attractive freeze frame. No, it was.
All right. But okay. All right. I guess we wait until morning.
Okay. So, morning comes. As you wake up, again, the city's about maybe a mile away. Normally, a city like this, when you would look out, you would see at least the kind of agrarian parts of the city start to wake up, because most of them will be up before sunrise. And especially since the northernmost point of Klausgate is the Teamsters Giga Guild, where they keep all of their horses, their wagons. So you would expect the various horse hands and stuff like that to be coming out and shoveling hay and other things like that, cleaning out things. But the city itself is dead still.
okay. So this is like, so I would presume made breakfast and then made it to Klausgate, yes?
You haven't gotten to Klausgate yet. You're a mile away and just kind of observing. This is what you can see from your campsite.
Ah, all right.
Because again, you guys are only, about a mile away. You can see the city pretty well.
Okay, so Grelman's noticing that as he's making breakfast.
In fact, Why don't I show you what the city looks like? So this is Klausgate. And you guys will be coming in from the north. And I'm going to see... Here we go. Yep, and now chat can see it as well. So this is my cool Klausgate map. So back to here. So, anything you guys want to do before you actually head into the city? It'll probably be maybe 20 minutes-ish to go from where your campsite is to the city if you're going slow. Like you can get a mile in 10 minutes.
Well, first off, Rowan's doing his thing, and he's like, okay. Since we weren't able to get that much from the previous, so I got just... everyone's having Johnny cakes.
Still very tasty.
So everyone gets 6 temporary hit points.
Nice.
Alright.
Roughing it, only 1 serving of jam.
All right. So after that's done, anything else you guys want to do before you come into the town?
I feel the need just to say this.
Oh,
Part
I
of
should actually
Vala's
hit one.
Eldritch Invocations allows her to cast Mage Armor
Mhm.
at will. So she's always like refreshing it every 6 hours.
Makes sense. You guys watch as Vala just kind of puts a little spring in her armor, like shoom. How do you envision Mage Armor manifesting on Vala?
It's a little dumb, but I kind of think of it as there's just like a little extra sheen to the light because the light, Celeste.
Mhm.
So when somebody goes to hit her, it just adds a little bit of extra like sparkle and just throws their aim off just enough.
It's the metallic armor from Power Rangers Season 3, where they just added glitter to the armor.
Yes.
Gotcha.
As Rowan's giving breakfast, he goes to each person. Here's your plate, Death Ward. Here's your plate, Death Ward. Here's your plate, Death Ward.
Death Ward be with you, and also with you. Nope, we're not doing that.
Are you actually casting Death Lord?
Yes.
Okay.
Alright.
Yes, welcome to the Church of England.
Also
Instead of Death or Cake, it's Johnny Cakes and Death Ward.
Death Ward or cakes or both.
So, yeah. What do you guys want to do? Just head into the town, I'm assuming?
Can't think of any preparations. Not about anybody else.
No, don't really have anything to like prep up or whatever.
All right, so as you
I
guys
could change. I'll change my spell. Oh wait, I can't do that.
just stares at
You-
Liliane.
Wait, you can't change your spell slot every morning?
No, Liliane, why can't she?
I don't know.
Oh wait. Do you think I need to change out some spells?
So as you guys start coming in to the town, again, the closer you get, the more unsettled you get. Because by the time you guys come in, it's probably like 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. Still very, very early, but for a town like this, the majority of the merchant folk would already be hard at work. Like any taverns or restaurants would already have food ready for people coming in. Any of the agrarian people would have already finished their morning chores and would be coming into town to pick up supplies and things like that they're going to need for the rest of the day. But there is nothing. Like you look around, no one's on the street. There are no lights in any of the buildings. There is no smoke coming from any of the chimneys. There is nothing in this town. And again, the first building that you come to is one of the larger buildings in the town. It's the Teamsters Guild. And the guild itself almost looks deserted. You see no horses. You see wagons, but they're not attached to anything that could be used. Like they're not set up to take anything anywhere. And all the doors are shut. All the windows are shuttered. Nothing. And you hear no noise. What do you all want to do?
Somebody's gonna pay them for the money.
That is a horrible thing. Do we want to knock on the doors? Vala will spend a second level spell slot and cast Detect Thoughts.
Okay. Does it require... It doesn't require line of sight, right? Like you could technically detect thoughts through walls?
Yes, it can penetrate barriers, but 2 feet of rock, 2 inches of any metal other than lead, or a thin sheet of lead blocks you.
Okay. So we wouldn't have any
It's
of
within 30 feet.
that. Yeah. So you do need to get pretty close to the building itself to get anything. But as soon as you start getting close to the building, there's a lot of people inside. And the kind of surface thoughts that you're getting are what you would expect from a Teamsters Guild. Like, oh, we've got these deliveries to make. Oh, you know, this horse threw a shoe last night. Now we have to deal with that. I guess we're going to have to go to the blacksmith. Like, just kind of business as usual. But from the outside, you don't hear anyone. And again, you see no indication that anyone is there from the outside.
I will pass that along to everyone else. I could try digging deeper into one of their thoughts, but they'll find out about it and it'll probably start a fight.
We don't.
Clarification: you're hearing multiple thoughts from inside the building.
Yes. And they have to
Okay.
be within 30 feet of me.
Okay, I was wondering if they were like it was like you were hearing them all around. Okay, inside. Well, I wonder if it's some type of camouflage, like I forget which one it was, the town outside of Demise. Or not outside of Demise, it was the other town where they had the resistance. They had their camouflage set up.
Yeah.
Do we want to knock?
I mean, it is the Teamsters Guild. We can ask about
Yeah.
needing to rent horses.
We could
But when
not.
we go to leave here.
While the spell is still going, you could knock and see if thoughts change.
As you do that, because detect thoughts lasts for, is it a minute or 10 minutes?
It's 1 minute.
1 minute, okay. So as you get up to the doors, right when it's about to end, and as soon as you knock on it, first thing that you notice is as you knock, it doesn't feel quite right. Like as you knock, you can hear the knock reverberating on the outside, but you don't really feel it reverberating from the inside, and it feels dull, almost muffled.
The acoustics are wrong.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel like it carries.
And right as you do that, your detect thoughts is just about to fade as you go ahead and make me a wisdom saving throw.
Huzzah! That's an 18.
18, cool. So as you do that, every single mind in that building instantly kind of screams in unison, and you feel this overwhelming feeling of terror kind of assault your mind, and it turns off the detect thoughts, because it was about to end anyway, and you kind of get this bit of a headache after it because everyone inside seemed absolutely terrified when you knocked on the door. The rest of you guys just watch as Vala kind of goes up and then nearly faints. Like Vala has to kind of catch herself on one of the supports outside the door, and you can see like she kind of breaks out in a flop sweat for just a second, and you see her rubbing her head a little bit.
Oh, that was a little intense at the end there. They definitely responded to the knock, but every single one of them focused on the door, it seemed. Like all of their attention was on the knock. They seemed terrified of it.
So it sounds like maybe there's something to be afraid of.
Well, I'm gonna use another second level spell, and
Why, before you burn another spell, why don't we just try knocking again? That way they don't think it was like some strange oddity.
No, I don't think they're gonna answer the door. Is the issue.
Well, they also might not want people making a lot of noise, so maybe someone might answer.
Vala goes and knocks again.
Okay. As you do, again, acoustics aren't right. It's not resonating the way it should. Almost like someone had like pushed a mattress or something up against the door. And as you're sitting there for just a moment, suddenly the door itself swings open remarkably quietly. Like you've never seen a door, or you've never heard a door swing open this quietly. And you have to jump back a little bit because the door swings outward and almost kind of clips you in the nose. And as soon as it swings outward, you can see all of this like down pillows and other kind of soft things are kind of adhered to the other side of the door. And you see a man that Rowan you recognize as one of the Teamsters that you spoke to the last time you were here, but his face is kind of ghost white, but you can see he's kind of putting forward this expression of strength and resolve. And so he sees you. He seems to almost recognize you, Relwyn, and then he kind of looks around and he just grabs Vala and yanks her in, and a few other people just start kind of grabbing you guys and pulling you in as quickly as they can.
This is kind of a Venn diagram of experience for Relwyn, considering where he's from.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping low and panicking. So I think it's just like I think he immediately reads the situation, being familiar with it, and kind of goes with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do any of the rest of you guys want to resist at all, or?
No, Argenta will get pulled in. She's just like, oh, this is actually a fairly normal reaction for this world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tracks. Totally tracks. As you guys get in, they close the door. You see them put this large kind of padded beam in front of it. And as you guys look around, you can see every single wall is covered in some sort of insulating material. All the windows have like blackout curtains adhered to them to avoid any kind of light bleeding. And you look around and you can see all of these people that are just staring at you. And the other thing that you realize is the building from the outside does not look massive. Like it's a big enough building. It's large enough to be a guild hall. But definitely not large enough to be able to house like horses and stuff like that. As you guys come in, you realize that they have removed the floors in a lot of places and have actually dug out underneath the building to create stables and other things. You can actually see a wench not a winch, a winch. Very similar but different. Machine that seems to be able to take the horses from this kind of lower area and bring them up so that they can be taken out, and that, like, it's kind of a modern marvel of ingenuity, to where from the outside it looks like there's no one here, but they've built this entire guild hall slash horse barn slash everything in here. And the man that, again, you recognize, Rowan, turns to you and goes, "What in the hell are you doing?"
Sees all the sound installation and the lights. Like, oh, I'm sorry, we didn't mean to interrupt your streaming.
Aye, we're doing the NPC challenge. Thank you very much. Oh, this is very tiring. Thank you very much. Oh, this is very tiring. Thank you very much. Oh, this is very tiring. He just looks at you. You always like, "What are you doing here?"
What do you mean?
We don't get visitors on purpose. And listen, if you've got business somewhere else, just stick to the outer road and leave as soon as you can.
What's going on here that's causing that to be a need?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
Why are you all hiding underground?
You weren't like this when I was here last.
And he kind of looks at you and is like, "Oh, that's because you came on travel day. We were literally, as you came up, we were all ready for, we were all ready to start a caravan. Thought it was mighty strange that you came in, but your money was good, so it didn't matter." Really quickly from Walu Genie 7, Vala, take an inspiration token.
Thank you.
It's always been like this. It's the law.
Whose law?
Well, I totally wrote this down. Lord and Lady Fox. The rulers of the town?
The people aren't allowed on the streets except during travel day.
No one's allowed in the streets at any time.
Hmm.
They don't enjoy the pollution, they call it. Noise pollution.
Hmm.
Vala pulls out her lute and starts tuning the strings.
And you see someone, without thinking, has a pair of like wire cutters and starts going for your lute strings. Again, without malice or anything, they seem like this is how everything. They approach you like it's the most normal thing in the world.
They're like, "Oi! Don't be thinking about it.
Well, you're instigating it. Stop it.
Sorry,
I have not yet begun to instigate."
sir, why are you here? If you're not here to travel through, there's no free houses here. There's nowhere for you to stay. Our inn does not accept travelers. Like, if you've come here looking for work, you're in the wrong place. Head to Ebonthorn. They've got plenty of work out there.
I'm sorry, because of the accent, I couldn't tell. Is it Lord and Lady Fox?
Fox. Fox.
FOX.
Like the animal. So, where are you here? You can't stay. If you're looking for passage to Midenwell, we don't have another caravan leaving for about 3 days. So if you'd like to return in about 3 days, we can take you through the Webwood. But we have no place for you here, and there's no place in the city for you to stay. So you're going to have to go back to wherever you camped and stay out there. There is nothing for you in this town.
Say, hypothetically, if we were to go through the town,
Oh, I can't let you do that.
because,
It's against the law. Why is this difficult for you to understand?
well, that's the question. Let's hypothetically, if we were to be found in the town, would there be constabulary?
No,
Would there be?
the
Is it a
Lord and Lady Fox. When they saw you, they would execute you and anyone that allowed it to happen.
Okay, so just Lord and Lady Fox are just wandering about the town.
Aye, it's their town. They can do what they like.
A ruler has a responsibility to their people.
Since when?
Since we started killing them.
Yeah, and
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Either.
Relwyn kind of looks to Vala before Argenta says that, and like, remembering where you were previously.
Yeah, I didn't even see that through when we came from.
Listen, I don't know what you think you're doing here, but Lord and Lady Fox are not to be trifled with. If you upset them, you're not going to. I mean, you will pay the price, but they will ensure that the rest of the city pays the price, and you watch them. These are not people to be trifled with. They have absolute power, and they are favored by the Dirt Lord.
Has anyone? Strange question again. Sorry. Has anyone ever actually seen and or heard them? Do they like say
Aye,
make declarations?
I've seen them.
I've seen them as well. Again, they walk around as they please if you wait long enough. They generally don't make it all the way out here.
Or, like, I should correct myself. I haven't seen them. Commander did, and he described them to me.
Commander, are you part of a military unit? Do you work for the Dark Lord? Is that why you're here? Are you tax collectors? We
No.
haven't seen a tax collector
You are
in about 6
not
months.
the tax collectors.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm very confused about what's going on. Why are you here?
Vala will say, I am actually one of the High Inquisitors.
And he just looks at you like you just said, I'm the Fnurf Noppelgup. What?
Wait, sorry. Out of character. Vala's title was Inquisitor, correct?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
High Inquisitor.
High Inquisitor.
Yep.
I think your town.
And you've,
Yes.
despite the fact that the Inquisitor was a position specifically in the town that you were in, you've thrown that name around before and people have recognized it. Not every single town has it seems to be something relatively unique to the town that you were in, but people recognize the term.
Yeah. Here they don't.
He seems oblivious to it. Congratulations. Are you here to inquisit something?
Yes. Lord and Lady Fox.
And he just looks at you like you've just said red smells like 7. I'm sorry, you're not making any sense, lad. Or lass. We opened our doors out of perhaps a mistaken idea that you didn't know what you were doing. But if you're here for a particular purpose, we'll have nothing of it. We do our jobs. We live under the grace of Lord and Lady Fox. So, if you're here to do something else, then please leave us out of it. We have no reason to upset the great Lord and Lady.
We will make sure they will not hear any of this.
Alright, well, if you're not here to use our services, then I'm going to have to ask you to leave, and I strongly recommend you leave town. Again, they're willing to overlook people using the outside road in order to get around the town and go to wherever they're going. They find you inside the city. And he kind of brings you in closer. You are not going to be the one to pay. Not until the very end. Alright?
Mm.
And we've paid enough.
If you don't mind me asking, when was the last time anyone came in
Oh, they never
and
come
paid the
in.
price?
They never come in. They've not enacted a punishment in 7 months, 8 months. There was a kid. Didn't realize what he was doing. Wee lad, maybe 6 or 7 years. Decided he wanted to go out and play. His family was delivered a box with his ashes in it, and the parents were strung up. I didn't know if the bodies are still there. Sometimes they leave them up there for years. Use some kind of magic to make the suffering extend. I haven't been to that part of town since. Seriously, just use the outside road, go to where you're going. But don't set one foot inside of the city. And if you do hear a sound of hoofprints or wagon wheels on the roads, run. As fast as you can, as quiet as you can, get away from there. This is not about you. We cannot take another punishment.
I don't suppose. So we can help to avoid. Do you have a map of the city?
And he just, again, he looks at you like you just asked for, like, mustard powder. And finally, another voice kind of chimes up. Oi! I've got one. You see this little kid walking with a bit of a limp. And as you look down, you see he's not wearing any shoes, and he seems to be missing a few toes. So he comes over, he's like, oh, I've got a really nice one. Here, look at this. And he brings out, it's a hand-drawn map, but it's remarkably detailed.
I think Rel was expecting like a crayon thing, and then he like, oh, that's so. Whoa.
Yeah, it's still rough, and it's drawn. You're not sure what it's drawn with, because it's definitely not like colored wax and things like that would effectively be the equivalent of crayons, and it's not done in ink. It's kind of similar to charcoal, but it's not quite. But the detail work is really impressive, and it's effectively what you guys see on the map here in Roll20. like complete with all the different houses and everything. He's like, yeah, I am. Well, I've got lots of time on my hands, so I made a map. It's really nice, isn't it?
How do you know this kind of detail?
Well, he kind of looks around, and everybody else has kind of gone back to their work, and they seem to be kind of actively avoiding you. And so he pulls on your shirt and kind of tries to get you a little bit lower, and kind of tries to bring your ear close.
Rowan takes a knee.
I don't know it, but there's a little place that I can sneak out, and I'll be able to go around and just look and see everything. But don't tell them. They'll get really mad at me. Like, my mom was really cross when she saw what I did.
Could we have this map?
But it's my only one, and I've put a lot of work into it. Well, you can borrow it, but I want it back. Can I have it back after you're done?
I don't see why. Rowan will look to the others. I don't see why not.
Okay. Well, yeah, you be very careful with it. It's really, really a lot of work. Okay.
I tell you what. And Vala will go into her bag and pull out one of the Grimm fairy tale books that she has
Okay.
and be like, I will leave this with you as collateral.
And he kind of looks at it, and his eyes go really, really big, and he kind of takes it. He's like, wow, and he starts kind of opening it up, and you can see like the little pictures in it, and he kind of looks at it, and he looks at you. You can see this kind of mixture of like excitement and terror at the same time, and he kind of just looks around, and he immediately hides it under his shirt. Where did you get this?
We're not from here.
Where are you from?
A few places now. Rowan kind of like realizes he.
A little from all over.
Yeah, man.
Well, you give this a Fern Square. Where? I really don't want to ask this question. Where's your mother, father, guardian?
Oh, they're working with the horses. My dad, he feeds them, and my mum, she brushes the horses.
Okay. He was very nice to help us. Does this kid? You said he's missing some toes and stuff. I'm willing to bet. Quick medical scan. I don't even know if I need to roll.
They're
this
cauterized.
kid. Okay.
Like it's obvious they were cauterized.
Okay, but so they're operating on their own. Is there even like he's suffering from a little bit of like an illness, disease type situation?
He's malnourished. Like not to the point of being like near death or anything, but it's obvious he's malnourished.
Okay,
but
so
he doesn't seem to have any other illnesses other than
no disease, no.
Not that you can tell. I mean, go ahead and roll me a medicine check real quick.
Okay. 22.
Yeah, looking him over, he's in remarkably good health. You think more likely than not he looks a little malnourished, and he probably could use some sunlight. Like you can see the telltale signs of like a vitamin D deficiency. Like his hair is real thin. His fingernails just don't look quite right.
Okay. So could we treat a deficiency like that like a disease?
Not really. Like you want to treat that like
I'm sorry. Mechanically speaking, in regards to like lesser restoration.
I would say lesser restoration would not cure something like that. Okay. Unless it was like lesser restoration cures things that are technically life-threatening.
Well, typically it says creature can end either one disease or one condition afflicting it.
Yeah, and conditions are...
condition is the mechanical condition, so yeah. I didn't like...
So yeah, he doesn't technically have a disease, whereas there's something foreign in his body that's attacking it. His body's just not getting the right nutrients. Now, with your cooking skills...
I was say, I could also, why don't you go ahead and bring your mother over?
Yeah, like just the stuff that you keep on you for cooking, you have quite a few different things that are
Yeah,
high
I
end.
have extra I could absolutely give to.
Yeah. So in that route, you could help. But as far as casting spells, they're again, what those spells do is they remove foreign bodies and foreign influences on someone. This is just the body's not working at peak condition. Be the same thing as like casting lesser restoration to fix being up past your bedtime. Being too tired. Which I mean,
So
technically, greater restoration cures levels of exhaustion, but it's
yeah,
a slightly different thing.
yeah. So Rowan will wait for him to bring his mom.
If you ask him to bring his parents, he's like, "Oh no, they can't know I'm talking with you. I get really mad."
I think they'll be okay after this.
All right, but I'm telling you right now, if I get in trouble, I'm taking my map back.
Fair enough.
Right, and he kind of goes off into the miasma that is just everyone, because everyone here, despite the fact that they've created this kind of underground barn, it's still very tight quarters. And so he kind of gets lost in the sea of people. And about 5 minutes pass, and eventually you see an older-ish looking gentleman from just a quick glance.
Oh, not the mom. Okay.
Well, the mum will come too, but I'm describing
Oh, okay.
the father first. As he comes close, you can see these kind of deep, sunken eyes. He's missing an arm just above the elbow, and he has a pitchfork in the other hand that he seems to have learned how to use one-handed really, really well. And you see this woman who has this kind of very long but very, very thin, wispy red hair that is somewhat tied up, but like little bits and pieces of it are just kind of falling out. And she's got a brush on her hand. And as far as you can tell, she doesn't seem to be missing any limbs. And they come out, and Father's first one to speak, and he kind of gestures using the pitchfork, not in a kind of aggressive way, just in a kind of, it's a very natural thing for him to just always have his hand on, if that makes sense. It's like, "Oh, my son said you want to speak with us. What you want?"
Rowan just says forward, goes, he just looks to both of them and goes, "To show gratitude for what little kindness you people were willing to risk, simply welcoming us in, I noticed your child." And Rowan will reach in, and he'll kindly. He also knows like I could also be very much introducing meat into a school of piranha. So
Mhm.
I want to like on the so like he will give the remainder of the food that he made, um, to them, and then he will go into his herbalism kit, and he'll also give some premises like, if you just simply make a simple tea out of this, it should help. Um, reverse any deficiencies for at least for temporarily. I understand this is not a permanent fix, but I'm simply glad I could offer some type of help.
And they kind of, again, they look at you like you've just taken your head off and started juggling
It's
with
okay.
it.
It's like he's assuring, it's like it's okay. It's all right.
Please, we don't have any money for you. We're
I'm
not
not asking
trying.
for money. I don't want any money.
And
I don't
again,
want
he
anything
just
from you.
looks at you like you're nuts.
I understand this is as someone who was once in the situation similar. I understand. Just take it. It's fine. I don't want anything.
And you see him fighting against his better judgment. You can see kind of the wheels turning in his head.
He looks. He goes like.
And
He goes up.
suddenly the woman comes forward, and just with a swift motion, all the stuff that you were holding just seems to kind of disappear. And then she leans down to her son and just very quickly hurries him off. And again, the father's sitting there, is like, "Thank you." And then he leaves. After a few moments, the head of the Teamsters Guild comes over and is like, "Aye, listen, you've been here long enough. If you don't have business with us, we have to ask you to leave.
We understand.
And good luck with whatever you're doing."
I assure you, we will keep your names out.
night.
We were never here.
And he goes to the door, and you see him kind of open up a thing, a panel in the roof that slides so smoothly that you don't even hear it. And you see a mirror, and you see him put kind of fold on another thing, and you can see this kind of really interesting periscope that they've created using a bunch of mirrors and stuff like that. He kind of looks around, closes everything back up, opens the door, shoves you guys out. And the door closes silently behind you.
So noticing that, because I think Roland would have noticed that regardless, since this passive perception alone. So now he makes sure, like, he kind of like back to the mirror, looks at them. Maybe to ensure that they don't pay the price for what we are about to do, we go to the other side and then try to go in.
Okay with that?
We
Yeah.
could do it.
And then that way we can then take a look at the map then, so no eyes are on us. I don't want to get the family in trouble.
Agreed.
It's more than fair. And
Okay.
just so that you're all aware, as far as what I remember from Commander telling me, the rulers of this city are his siblings.
Yeah, siblings.
I was going to
Yeah.
say, I've never actually been here. I don't know the stories I was following, just trying to catch up with all of you. So you haven't had any encounters here, like walking houses and...
Well, we haven't been
No.
here as a thing.
Yes.
Only Commander's been here.
I personally am looking forward to all sorts of new and exciting shenanigans.
Well, you do realize with the likelihood of the horrible thing we just heard, that ashes might mean the fire might not hurt them. Just want to prepare you for that disappointment.
I'm also
There's
wondering
only
if
one
they,
way to find out.
I'm wondering if they follow in Commander's footsteps. And she kind of pats Fury on her hip.
So, okay, so anyway, so back to that. So did Commander ever mention Lord and Lady Fox?
I haven't heard them by that name. I only know that they're his siblings.
I'm sorry, they're his siblings or they are siblings?
They're his siblings.
They're Commander's siblings?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I assume they were fail over here by the same.
I'm sorry, did Commander used to be part of the ruling body here?
No.
From what I understand, Commander kept his past very secretive. As secretive as that one. She gestures to Vala. And he didn't divulge much. I know his mother died seemingly tragically. And these two, I guess, are his siblings. He seemed to be from some sort of noble line back where we're from. And when they crossed over, they were made the rulers of this town.
I keep forgetting you keep saying you're not from here. So
Yeah, I'm assuming we're doing like a lot of time.
Yeah, probably.
So I assumed as well. So you guys are far enough away from this city now that you don't think anything you're saying would carry, the sound would carry far enough that anyone in the city could hear you. Do you guys, since you are kind of walking and talking, do you guys want to head around the west side of the city?
that's what I was presuming.
Okay. So yeah, as you guys are kind of taking the long way around to get to the west entrance of this city, there is a very large building at the west entrance of this. Go ahead.
Sorry, I should actually, before we decide that, just real quick, if it makes any difference, did the child, because it says very detailed, did he do any markings, demarcation, saying building, church?
He did mention that up here at the top That's the Teamsters Guild. That's where he lives. This is the Lord and Lady's Mansion over on the east side. And there's a bunch of kind of marks on it that say "stay away," "forbidden," things like that. And then the large building over here is just labeled with a smiley face. And then everything else about this is a city. Like every so often, you'll see a little note of like, cute dog, fuzzy cat, pointing to one of the buildings and stuff like that, where it seems that he has noticed stuff like that. So there's notes here and there that kind of describe little things throughout the city, but nothing that you would consider like none of the districts are labeled or anything like that.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. Do we still want to go to there? Because I think if we went east, I think we might have sent everybody to a absolute panic. Do we still want to go to the west side?
I mean,
I was
that-
thinking maybe a worst case scenario, we just make a almost like a 3/4 of a circle, going from northwest, southeast, before we end up at their, if we do end up at their mansion.
Do we want to go to the mansion, or do we want to bring them out into the open?
Well, that's what I was thinking. It sounds like they wander around anyway. I was thinking maybe worst case scenario, we start here, and we then just make our way around, and then maybe if we don't see anything strange, we just end up at their mansion.
Okay.
Also,
If
I
we
figured
need-
less likelihood to draw attention to the people at the guild hall.
I'm completely in agreement on trying to avoid implicating anyone else. If we want to draw them out, I have the perfect bait.
As I was expecting you might. Also, I'm curious why he has a smiley face on this one.
It is intriguing.
So as you guys continue to move your way around, again, you see nothing in the city. You're far enough away that at a moment's notice you could kind of crouch down and not have to worry about anyone from inside the city seeing you.
Are there walls around the city, or is it like just an open planned city?
Just open.
Okay.
There is a street that completely circumnavigates the city. And on the inside of the street, you can see, just like in the picture, there's houses and things like that. On the outside of the street, there's literally nothing. There are no houses, there are no plots, there's no farmland, there's nothing.
How do these people live out? Sounds like they. Doesn't sound like they live very much at all.
No.
Roland's just finding a new reason to be angry.
Okay. So as you guys continue to talk, you eventually can see this kind of pinkish red building probably about half a mile ahead of you now that you've kind of gone all the way to the west side of the city. And Ro, when you remember kind of coming up to the building and seeing no signs of life in it, and just kind of walking past until you eventually got to the Teamsters Guild and actually saw people there. So you never really had a chance to inspect this particular building. But it is very, very large. It's a large kind of collection of buildings that are all interconnected with walkways and things like that between them. What would you all like to do?
Do we see any? Is it? I'm guessing it's also like the Teamsters building. Like you don't see any interaction. We don't see any people.
Absolutely stillness of death.
But we
There's
see
no
catwalks
movement.
and stuff.
Yeah, you can see catwalks. You can see actual like fully built contained walkways and hallways and stuff like that. Like, it's a little. It's almost like a little kind of campus kind of thing, where it's just a bunch of buildings that are all interconnected in various ways, large enough that you could probably fit like 6 or 7 different families in there with plenty of room to spare. One thing you would notice about this building compared to the Teamsters Guild, none of the windows are boarded up or shuttered. Some of them, the shutters are kind of closed, but they don't seem like forced, like kept shut or anything. It just looks like that's how the wood is particularly hanging. And there are a few windows that you can see open, and you don't see any light or movement on the inside.
We want to try the same thing and seeing if we're greeted.
Can't hurt, can it? Well.
Remember to keep
I
an ear out.
mean,
So say, remember to keep an ear out for. They said keep an ear out for hooves and wagon wheels. If we see or hear that, maybe for right now at least, keep a low profile.
So as you go up, who wants to knock this time?
I will gently
Okay.
knock on the door.
As you knock on it, resonance works the way you would expect it would. Doesn't seem that this door is silenced or soundproofed or anything like that. And because there's literally nothing else going on, the sound of you even knocking quietly seems to carry much further than you expected it would. And after knocking just twice, the door itself kind of gives in and opens slightly.
Hello?
No answer.
Follow will very slowly walk in and start looking around.
The door kind of creaks as it opens. You do your best to keep it as quiet as you can, but the hinges on there have not seen any love in a while. As you look in, you can see scraps of paper and things on the floor. You can see tables and chairs, some of them broken, some of them splintered. You see a large bar-like area, but you don't see any kegs or anywhere that you would keep kegs that you would normally see at a bar. There's also bits of paper along the bar, and there's a big board with what looks like effectively a bulletin board with things kind of adhered to it. And as you look around, you can see that there are various different rooms kind of going off from this main chamber. You don't see a ton of doors on the inside from where you are, just doorways.
You're mentioning a lot of scraps of paper. Rowan just picks up some random paper and looks at that and looks at the billboard.
Okay. As you look at the paper itself, due to age and I can't think of the word I'm thinking of. It's been beat up a lot. And so looking at it, you can tell that something was written on it at one point, but it is so faded and scuffed that it could be anything from a recipe for noodle soup to a proclamation for the latest show that's coming up.
So it doesn't look like anyone's been here for a very long time?
Not that you can tell. There's a decent layer of dust on everything.
Maybe it's on the higher levels.
Vala will take this opportunity to cast Detect Thoughts.
Okay. You detect the thoughts of the rest of the party, and that's it.
Okay, what's the range on that?
30
you
feet.
said? Okay.
So,
Maybe they're out of
Does
the
it-
range.
I mean, theoretically, it detects animal thoughts too, right?
I believe they have to have an intelligence of 3 or higher
Then no,
Some
you
and
have to
speak a
animals do.
language.
yeah,
Oh,
none of the animals in here would have an intelligence score high enough.
So,
You guys do every so often hear skittering and stuff like that. There's vermin in here.
well, I mean, how long do you think we have in here? It would take me 10 minutes if we wanted to talk to the animals.
and if you want to, I'm not sure what they tell us. Maybe they could tell us if there are typically people here.
Sure.
Oh, I don't have a feeling that if people were here, they would be.
Or they could be hiding. We haven't really. We've stepped like 2 feet in.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
they're
good
not hiding
information.
within 30 feet.
I mean, while they're looking around Argenta, we'll start connecting with Wolf to cast Speak with Animals.
Okay. So you guys have about 10 minutes to kind of wander around, and you can see there are effectively. You guys think this might have been like an adventurers guild or something akin to that? You see a bunch of different kind of meeting rooms. You see an entire area that is full of broken and splintered bunk rooms. But you probably, in 10 minutes, you're not able to explore everything. But you are able to see, they probably could have had easily 40 or 50 people boarding here. And yeah, there seems to be enough stuff here. If this were anywhere else, like this would be a thriving adventurers guild. Probably with things like memberships and like this would not just be a place where adventurers come and find jobs. This would be a place where you have to be licensed, and like there's a lot of organization here. With Speak with Animals, do you have to actually cast it on an animal, or it just gives you the ability to speak with them?
It gives me the ability to speak with
Okay.
them.
So after the ritual is cast, you kind of look around, and again, you can see the signs that there's probably a rodent infestation here. But you don't specifically see any rats in your immediate area. What would you like to do?
I'll go to one of the walls.
Okay. Why don't you roll me a survival check, see if you can find them.
Survival. City's not favorite turn, so it's not bad. 27.
Yeah, it doesn't take you too long. This particular area does not seem to be a place that the rodents like to be, but you go through a few hallways and stuff like that. You find a place, and one of the rats kind of jumps out and goes, "Come on, put him up, put him up! Take you with one paw behind my back. Come on!"
I can speak to you.
And he just kind of looks at you. He's not saying anything, but he's kind of eyeing you down.
She'll pull out like a cracker from her ration.
Instantly changes. Kind of comes over, takes it, chews it a little bit. He's like, "It's good shit. All right, what do you want?"
So I was wondering, how long has this place been without, people like us?
Forever, always been this way. We don't like you. You're big and you're noisy and you're smelly.
How do you get food then?
We find it. Lots of food. Lots of things for food.
Like what? And where?
This, and he pulls up the cracker that you just gave him.
Well, other than that. What do
He
you
kind
eat
of looks
normally?
at you.
I'm not going to eat it.
He seems confused. He's like, You want to know where the food is, but you don't want to eat it.
Yes, we're looking for information. It'll help us, but we're not going to eat your food. We had our own food, like I gave you.
Okay. Roll a persuasion check.
Uh, I used the dice. That was kind of me. Mm,
If I give him peanut butter, we'll give advantage.
Hey,
Persuasion. Okay. 14.
14. Kind of looks at you a little bit freaky, but he goes, okay, follow me. And he runs off
I'll-
really fast.
I'll
And
chase them.
yeah, it takes a little bit of effort to keep you in your sights. And he goes into the walls every so often. You have to kind of follow him by sound. But eventually, he keeps taking you down and down and down. You realize that this building has a pretty decent basement. And eventually you get to kind of the lowest area and you find this probably like 20-foot in diameter hole that seems to go straight down. And kind of looking over it, you don't see any indication as to how far down it goes, but it goes significantly farther than anything you can see. And as you look around, you can see little bits of kind of rotting flesh around. Every so often you'll see like moldy bread and stuff like that. You're not exactly sure where it's coming from, but a few of the pieces of meat have like impact damage where it looks like they were kind of dropped from a decent height. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so there's meat in here, you said?
Rotting
And
meat, moldy bread, other stuff like that.
okay. Does so he said people haven't been here. The fact that the meat's rotting and it's not just sludge tells me that it's fairly recently been here.
Yeah, if you want to roll me another either survival or medicine check, whichever you like better, you can figure out exactly how long you think it might have been here.
So that's a survival for 15.
15. Cool. Looking at it, there's not, like, it doesn't smell bad enough for this to be more than a few days old.
All right. And looking up, is there just like a hole? Like, does the hole go through?
No, it's a kind of domed stone ceiling. Only goes up
And
maybe about 12 feet at the highest part of the dome.
so not too high to see like for the damage of this meat or whatever it is.
I mean, theoretically, if something was dropped from the absolute kind of top of the ceiling, it might have the damage that you see here. Like, it's not far enough. Like, it doesn't look like this was dropped like 100 feet or anything like that.
Okay. And then I'll look at my rat friend and I'll be like, does the food come like every few days or something?
Depends. Sometimes every single day. Sometimes won't come for a week.
Hmm.
And you hear this
Alright.
strange kind of gurgling sound, and it starts getting louder and louder. This kind of, and suddenly, the rat friend goes, "Oh, fun!" and then disappears. He moves so fast you have no idea where he went, but he is gone. And suddenly you get this really kind of rancid smell that you can kind of taste in the back of your throat. And suddenly there's this wave of what looks and smells almost like bile that comes out. And go ahead and roll me a dexterity save with disadvantage.
Well, that's normal for me because I'm a barbarian.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dangerousness.
Yeah. So kind of like his reaction, Argenta has that reaction too.
I think I know what this is, but I'm not going to say.
Um, uh, 15.
15. Uh, yeah, it's not particularly. So you see this wave of bile-like substance come. You realize it's probably not dangerous. Like it's probably not going to hurt you, but it's going to be remarkably unpleasant.
Yeah,
And
disgusting, pretty much.
you dive out of the way, and as it smacks the floor, it's this thick, goopy liquid that kind of sits there, and then you watch as it slowly recedes itself into in between the stones and that, and kind of drains away. And at the same time, you see kind of chunks of flesh and other things kind of pop up, and they go all the way to the ceiling, and then come and like splat down in this goo. And after about a minute or so, the rat comes back in, and he looks up at you and goes, "See?"
Yes, I do see. Interesting. All right. Thank you for that. And I'll hand him another cracker.
And then he disappears.
Yeah, so I'll go find you guys again.
Okay. So for the rest of you, Argenta kind of just vanished at one point. Like a few of you probably saw him running, or saw her running, but she was very, very fast, and remarkably quiet as well as she was going, and she just kind of vanished. So for the rest of the time, you guys are looking around, and again, you have enough time to kind of look through this whole place, and yeah, this was like, it's not quite like a military barracks, but it could work as one in a pinch. Like you could have an entire kind of regiment stay here with extra room. And there's so many different facilities. Like you guys find an armory. There's nothing left of it, or there's nothing left in it, but it's obvious that there was an armory here. You find a really nice kitchen that has seen better days. And like, this is a really great building with just about everything. Like, this is almost its own self-contained city. But there's just nothing here. You find a library in there too, and the library has been picked clean. You don't find a single book. You do still find bits of paper and stuff like that, but not a single book is still in here.
Outside the city, this one seems to be vacant.
And as
That's
you
so
guys
much-
are considering that, you suddenly smell something kind of weird and funky. And as much as you didn't get hit by the bile or anything, just being around that much rotten meat, Argenta, you have a little bit of a musk to you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Probably go away if you get somewhere that's not so kind of enclosed. Like, air out your clothes a little bit and it'll go away. But you guys kind of smell Argenta coming.
What is that? Oh,
So it'll go away. I didn't actually touch anything, but there's a multi-level basement to the facility. I followed. I talked to a rat, and he led me down to where he gets his food. So at the bottom, there's a chamber. It's about 12 feet tall, fairly big. Uh, that just had a bit of rotting meat and like moldy bread in it. And I actually got to see why. So apparently, at semi-regular intervals, daily or at least every 1 to 3 days, um, bile, that's the only way I can describe it, fills the space with chunks of meat in it, and then it just drains magically.
ew. Vala will use prestidigitation to start Febrezing Argenta. Like a sewer system?
No, it's just a room.
But where did the bile come from?
I don't know. It just started filling. I heard a gurgling sound. The rat made a noise and ran into one of its rat holes. I sensed that something was coming, so I jumped back just in time, and the room just filled with bile.
Hmm.
One point or another, someone made walkways and catwalks. I wonder if it was always like this, or if they made it because of what was down below.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Go up.
Yeah, we can go check out the catwalks.
Yeah.
As far as you guys can tell, like this, it's a great building that's just completely abandoned and abandoned and ransacked.
Guys, let's make this our new clubhouse. Okay.
So what do y'all want to do?
And I've I was wanting to inspect for clues or anything, but it just seems to be the place that time claimed.
Kind of, yeah. Like you, while Argento was off having fun bile adventures, you guys have been able to search this place kind of head to toe because there's not a lot here to look for, and you've tried reading various bits of paper and they're just so worn and dilapidated that you have not found a single thing that you can actually read or figure out what it used to be.
I wonder why the boy drew a happy face here.
Probably because he could play around in here and talk with the rats and
They're actually quite aggressive rats. I plied them with food, but he was ready to fight me.
Well, I imagine he wasn't playing with anything, or else he definitely would have had the disease. Well,
No, I'm confused. Other than maybe like Vala said, this place is, other than the rats, empty.
we could go investigate down below, or we could leave and go skirting
Is
around the rest of the city.
has my spell expired yet? Well,
I would
speak.
say by this point, because it only lasts for what 10 minutes.
Let me check if it lasts for an hour or 10 minutes. It takes 10 minutes to cast. I'm just checking
Mm-hmm.
for me, anyway. 10 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, at this point, it's done.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay, so do we want to? We can either go below and investigate the horrible rancid smell for clues, or we could go out and look for potentially a couple of very horrible homicidal rulers while skirting around the outside of the city.
I go for looking for the homicidal rulers, but that's just me.
Yeah, me too.
I think we're all on the same page. I think we're looking for ideal place to lure them to us, our terms.
I mean, by the sounds of it, we could lure them by simply making a lot of noise.
Yeah.
Don't seem to have a lot of information on what they might actually be or do, though.
No, I mean, I don't know what power the Dark Lord gave them. I know that in their homeland, they were known for. Well, you've seen me use the weapon Rowan, and she'll pull out Fury.
Oh, it's an entire land of that.
Yes.
there could be other.
So that means they could probably very well be doing that too.
Yes, they might have guns.
There could be other. Tell you anything out about when he was to them.
No, again, he didn't seem to like talking about his past.
From what I've gathered, every one of these places has a point to them in regards to some form of misery or another to people.
Yeah.
My particular home was being absolutely terrorized every minute of the day by threat of monsters getting us. The one where I met you all, it seemed to be people living in wealth while the people suffered below while other people didn't.
And for me, it was
I mean, where Commander found me, it was people would constantly come in, hunt a vampire, die. I would die with them, and then come back.
Mine was also horrible, but for different reasons.
Yes, you became the man.
Ugh.
he was so.
Well, I'm just wondering. So I'm wondering what they get out of it for their particular
Yes, I'm not sure.
claim.
It is also strange that they hold, as far as I'm aware, they hold the position together, which is different.
Well, but we think they're the generals, right?
Yes.
So they may just be inflicting the suffering on the people of this town.
Yeah.
But they seem to do that for like you. The majority of the people of the town don't seem to be here. They seem to be on the outskirts, and as long as they're not in the town,
Well, we
they leave
don't
them
know that there
alone.
we don't know that there aren't people in the town. They're just locked inside their doors, can't leave.
Yeah. And I mean, this is a form of suffering. I mean, who wants to live like that?
Sounds like a great way to make a whole town suffer.
Well, again, also, it's so strange seeing this from my perspective now. It wouldn't occur to these people to leave. I mean, there is the Teamsters Guild, and they seem to be leaving, but they only seem to go back and forth, and that's it. Anything outside of the norm, they do not understand. They didn't even understand the concept of
When
us intentionally going into the city.
Right.
or when you gifted them food, it seemed to confuse them too.
One day it just occurred to me that I could leave, and that's when I felt the pull to essentially end up with all of you. Um, if I mean, there could be people hiding. I just don't see how I don't understand how they would be surviving here, since if they are found for even an instant. But then again, I'm where I'm from. That was day to day, so maybe that's possible.
I'm sure the
Mm.
Lord and Lady have to sleep sometimes.
Do they?
Yeah.
Everyone seems to have a different thing about them. Maybe this is how they get their enjoyment, just constantly walking around the town. Maybe they get bored and they go back. I don't know. Maybe they need sleep. Maybe they don't.
So, do we want to Do we want to try to lure them out here to this building? Use this as a fortification?
If they, well, there's the other thing is if they do wander about, what if we were to inspect their home?
I'm sure it's flammable, so
Well, at the very least, I'm saying like if they're while they're out and about, maybe we can find out a little bit more about them before we run into them. Worst case scenario, they get upset about us being in their home.
How did your players draw the bosses to them? A bit of cheeky arson.
I can try kiting them. Distract them, giving the other part of the team a chance to go in and find out more about the home.
It's too bad none of us sends message. We could just say like, we tried to reach you. We've left your delivery.
Well, about that, I have a really great spell that I want to use, but I need to be familiar with the target in order to use it. I need to become familiar with these people.
Well, at the least we need to see them once.
Yes,
I
have a-
mean,
I have a spell called Dream. That
I
while they're sleeping,
Surefire.
we can invade their dreams. I could make one of you look like Commander, and you could go into their dreams and deliver them a message.
One of the surefire ways that would grab their attention if they don't like noise is I could quite literally fire their brother's gun into the air.
Oh, then another good reason we try and sneak into their place if they have ammo that thing uses.
I've read Commander's notes. I can make ammunition. I'm just not as good as it as he was.
Well, another would be keeping ammo away from them, but they probably have it. That's just me. We don't know anything about them.
No, we don't.
If they have, oh no,
Hmm.
I just think Vala might have more fun.
Wait a minute.
The ammo also that'll if they do have ammo, they might also have black powder.
As you
I
say
was
that,
very good and burned down a. I was very good and didn't burn down a forest.
as you guys say that, you suddenly like all stop talking for a moment because you hear something.
You hear nothing.
Oh, damn microphone! You guys can hear the sound of hooves clapping on
Oh,
the cobblestone streets outside.
We haven't left the house yet. Maybe we can.
That might be them.
So what do you all want to do?
Take cover and see if we can spot them.
Okay.
yeah.
Why doesn't everybody roll me stealth checks?
Uh,
Start with Vala. What you got?
22.
Not bad. Argenta?
Could I have cast Pass Without Trace in enough time?
It's a single. It's a bonus action, right?
It's an action.
Action. Yeah, you had 6 seconds. Sure. Everyone add
Alright.
10 to your whatever you rolled.
Oh, cool.
That's not.
24 then.
24. Cool. Lillian?
I believe 29.
Okay. And Rowan?
With a 10, 25.
Okay, cool. So you guys all kind of take places, do everything that you can to hide yourselves, and you guys do see a horse and a carriage being drawn, and eventually the horse stops just outside the building itself, not actually turning onto the road where the building is. Where the building exists, just on the road in front of it. And they stop, and you see the door open, and first you see a woman in an extremely extravagant dress, come out. And as you look at her, everyone except Rowan, something about her just seems really, really familiar. Like some parts of her face seem very familiar. Her hair, she seems very, very familiar. And as she kind of steps out, she has this kind of regalness to her, but she also has this kind of brilliant grin on her face that looks slightly kind of manic and maniacal. As she comes out, she kind of turns around. She goes, "Vinny!" And then another figure starts to step out. And Vala, Argenta, and Liliane, as the figure steps out, you can see on their hip is a beautifully decorated but very, very functional rapier. And he's wearing like a full kind of suit. Almost looks kind of like dueling attire, but very, very nice. There's a shoulder cape on it. When you guys see his face, your hearts stop as the commander steps out from the carriage. And unfortunately, that is where we are going to end it for tonight.
Rowan just sees these three dude go pale as a sheet, and he's just like hiding.
As always, if you missed any of this, I do upload all these to my YouTube channels, youtube.com/TraderJody. Otherwise, again, it's going to be all for us today, and I will see you guys next time. All right? Bye-bye.